In the second line of defense, in the innate immune response, we also have the inflammatory response. Inflammatory response can be observed as activation of the body alarms using chemicals. Biological response of the immune system that can be triggered by a variety of factors or inflammatory factors such as pathogens, damage or injury to the tissues of cells, and also toxic compounds. The signs and symptoms of inflammation includes the five principal signs of inflammation. Celsus describe the tetrad of inflammation: rubor, tumor, color, and dolor. And also added by Galen, the fifth cardinal signs, which is the functio lesa, or loss of tissue functions. The signs and symptoms of inflammations includes redness, which is because of raised blood flow to the injured area; swelling, which is caused by the leakage of fluids to the surrounding tissues; heat, raised by blood flow, leakage of fluids to the tissues, and also release of inflammatory mediators; pain, caused by stimulation of pain receptors by inflammatory mediators; injury of nerve fibers; and also irritation of the nerve by toxic chemicals released by the microbes; and to some extent loss of tissue function caused by heavy pain, disruption of tissue structures, fibroplasia, and also to some extent metaplasia. Tissue damage may be due to the initiating stimulus such as mechanical injury, physical injury, chemical injury, biological injury, immunological injury. The normal sequence started with injury sites exposed to invaders such as bacteria, mast cells, and the injured vascular epithelium will set up the inflammatory response by releasing histamine and other vasoactive substances into the surrounding tissue. Histamine diffuses into capillaries, causing them to dilate and become leaky. I mean, the fluids inside the blood will leak to the surrounding tissue. As capillaries dilate, the area appears red. As plasma leaks into the tissue, the area swollen. Histamine main effect is to activate vasodilation, which leads to leakage of vascular fluid to the site of injury. The reasons is to flood the area with serum proteins that contains inflammatory mediators, antimicrobial proteins, and also chemoattractants. The major physiological events in inflammatory response include vasoconstrictions, which is a constriction of blood vessels leading to decreased blood flow to a part. Vasodilation, increased volume of blood flow to the site; decreased velocity of blood flow to the site, which is leukocytes are able to slow down and adhere to vascular endothelium; increased expression of vascular endothelial adhesion molecules, which help the leukocytes to attach to vascular endothelium; increased vascular permeability, where fluids can enter the tissues. You can see there's a gap in between the cells of the capillary lining. Monocytes, neutrophils, and other effector cells from the blood attracted to the sites of infection or tissue damage by chemoattractants released by the mast cells and also the injured epithelial cells. Helps by the increased margination, the gap between the cells, which able phagocytes and other immune cells to pass through from blood to the injured areas, leakage of serum fluids to the infected areas, which brings so many others serum proteins such as complement proteins. Inflammatory response continues until the foreign material is eliminated and the injury is repaired. Then the tissue returns to normal. I will brief a bit on complement. Complement is a system of plasma proteins that can be activated directly by pathogen or indirectly by pathogen-bound antibody. Complements are produced by the liver. They are circulated in the blood plasma and in tissues. Activation of complement leading to a cascade of reactions that occurs on the surface of pathogens and generates active compounds with various effectors functions, including lysis of cells, bacteria and viruses, opsonizations, which promotes phagocytosis of particulate antigens, binding to specific complement receptors on cell of the immune system, triggering specific cell functions, inflammation and secretions of immunoregulatory molecules, immune clearance, which remove immune complex from the circulation and deposits them in the spleen and liver. And we also going to talk a bit on vasoactive substances. Important in starting the immune response. They are released, majority is released by mast cells and also endothelial cells, released by several mechanisms, including mechanical disruption and lysis of cells, lysosomal substances from neutrophils, activated complement components, kinin, gram-negative bacterial cell wall, pyrogens from bacteria, and also IgE in allergen complex. Vasoactive substances include vasodilators, histamine, kinins, prostaglandin, leukotrienes and nitric oxides, and also vasoconstrictors, endothelin-1. Fever, if the WBCs or leukocytes are overrun by so many invaders, which is the numbers are so much higher compared to WBCs, such in case of major injury or our leukocytes are facing highly strong or virulent pathogens. Immune cells will release pyrogens chemicals that will stimulate hypothalamus to increase the body temperature. This will lead to systemic fever, which, like a fire blast, will burn everything. This will buy time for our adaptive immune response. Higher than normal body temperature also inhibits the growth of the pathogens. The benefits of the inflammatory response include protective role, prevents the spread of damaging agents to nearby tissues, clearance of foreign or damaged material, encourage repair. But the downside of the inflammatory reaction is that it is non-specific, and the inflammatory compounds released are also harmful to the host. Because of this, inflammation is under tight regulatory control by our body. Immune system is a double-edged sword. Inflammation is like a fire in your body. They have the important role in how your immune system keeps your body safe and healthy from invaders, and also injures your tissues, can injures your tissues, joints, and also blood vessels. Thank you, and have a nice day, everyone.